All right. Hello. Welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about the Cancer Capricorn axis. Let's just do a little mic check in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me okay. All right. So, hello. Thank you so much. Sorry about the little thing I just did. But anyway, here we are. I really don't feel super chipper, so I started to pretend like I was, but I'm going to stop that now. And let's go ahead and have a peek at the astrology chart for today. I don't know if you guys have got to look at this. Sometimes it's fun just to look at the geometry of the chart and kind of see what shape is being made here. So it looks, hey, Justin. Oh, cool. Good. Notice how my voice changes when I said, hey, Justin, because I'm like, oh, military guy. And then I see Megan in the chat and I'm like, oh, Megan, hi. This is something that, while it might seem minuscule or not important, it is so important because the way that vibrations and tones are speaking things. I got to take heed to Saturn. I am not chipper. Okay, Irene, I love you. The way that the tones in our voice emit or irradiate a message goes beyond what is being said. So, like when I say, "Oh, Justin," and I get really like I'm giving more information in the vibration of my voice than what I'm saying. So, I don't think that really relates to the Capricorn full moon, but it does really relate with Cancer. So, and then so Justin says, LOL, military guy, nothing. It's safe to be soft. Yes, it is safe to be soft. And there is this thing that happens unconsciously. Cancer season really, really relates with the unconscious things that are and cannot being said, that things that are not being said, things that cannot be said. Cancer is the sign that most relates with moon. And it has to do with the water that's encoded in our body, that it's constantly, you might think of this like an auric field, where the information that is held is constantly being um, radiated outward, and it's a vibration that you can pick up on. And when somebody is speaking to you and you might hear their voice, this is the thing that just drives me insane. When I hear people, they start talking like this, and maybe it's late at night or something like that, but their voice gets really like, the tone sounds like not truth, like something is being hidden or tightened or clenched in the throat. And I don't know if you were in our Telegram group, I did send something at the beginning of Cancer season, which was one of my favorite artists, Fela Kuti. And Fela, at the beginning of his show, he was saying like some word. I can't remember how the word goes, but he was saying a word and like telling people to repeat this word. And the crowd repeats the word, and Fella says, "You're talking like a white man. Talk like an African man. Use your whole mouth." And it's this like, where you can really move the sounds from your lower belly, from your heart, from your fingertips. Move the sounds from your whole body and let them move through and out your mouth. So this is something that we, if you're not trained to hear these sounds, you will not notice them. And this does relate with Cancer season, because in Cancer season, we are learning the mysteries of the senses. and to be able to explore pleasure with our physical bodies. So I said this many times, before she was your mother, she was a lover. Cancer season is teaching us the mysteries of sexuality, progeny, so regeneration, how we restore ourselves, how we regenerate our bodies. Cancer season is like the moon. Moon is cycles and phases that are constantly evolving humanity through beaming down the lights from the other planets. So, stellar lights being beamed down through the moon onto Earth, giving us coded, you might call light codes of information that we will not be picking up with our these devices. We will not be picking them up sometimes, though, because sometimes, like right now, in hearing a transmission from the sky teachings, you may be able to pick up a piece of information coded from somebody else telling the story. But also, you yourself can go out under the moon and ask to receive that transmission. Yesterday, I was with my client friend who is a priest, and he is so wonderfully talented and been researching and studying all, not just Catholicism, but all spiritual things and religious things. And I was at his house because I do outcall massages now. He said, okay, at the end of this massage, I want to show you something, which is an icon. And at the end of the massage, he goes and takes the icon off of his wall and shows me this really beautiful painting, a hand painting of basically astrology. And so in this painting, I'm looking very closely because this is a Catholic priest who is very much devoted to his religion and in what he's been studying and teaching. But in this painting, I saw sun radiating outward. And stick with me here because this is important to something I want to share, which is a new understanding for me. Sun was pictured as a circle with the little beams of light radiating outward, and it looked very masculine. Moon, so sun was here, moon was here. Moon was like feminine, and it was like there was a lady in the center, like a feminine figure holding what looked like a child. And so there's the feminine figure and then the child, and they're facing each other like this. Then from the bottom of that circle, which was the moon, there was this beam of light that looked directly like an arrow just pointing down onto Earth. Earth. Now, this painting was very much like that old alchemy. It's on the cover of every alchemy book that I've ever read. It's in all the alchemy text, which is the Earth being somewhat dome shaped and lots of different textures on the earth, the fields of grass and flowers, and then the sun and moon are there. And something that I'm working with within myself and my own genealogy and looking into my ancestry. Okay, so this masculine principle of the sun having to do with the father, which is a father principle, and I'm always not sure, okay, because we have sun, we have Saturn. Saturn, I'm like, which two are the father? Which one is the father? And then we have Moon, which I always consider to be a mother because of that fertility cycle that is encoded in the moon that relates exactly with our fertility cycles. But yesterday, this morning, today on my run, every time I tune into it, now we've been working with this directions, the 4 directions. And in the meditations of going through those directions, we see that when sun is rising in the east, sun goes around to the west and sets. So this is sun having sex essentially with the earth, sun dissolving into earth. So the earth is our mother. Earth is Mother Earth. Earth is our physical bodies. So now sun merging with earth, giving us that father, son, mother, earth principle. What is the moon? Okay, so is moon the grandmother? And if you know about your genetics, we were all inside of our grandmother. Okay, or not, maybe, I don't know. How does this go? For me, for a woman, when I was in my mother's womb, how does this go? Okay, there's grandma. When grandma had my mom in her womb, my mother already had her eggs, which would be me. So, in some sense, that mother lineage line is like we were at one point in our grandmother, who was at one point in her grandmother. So, this maternal line, I think this is where we get the symbology of the moon and that constant evolution and turnover and the evolution of our genetics and how we will be expressed in through the next chapter of our experience. Okay, so this is why Cancer as an archetype relates most with the moon. There's this really beautiful long story that I will not tell today because we are going to get to this astrology today. But what I'm going to do is probably read this story to on my YouTube channel on a video that's not live and tell you about the from the Native American perspective of this moon cycle, which has to do, they call this loves all things. So for a mother to learn the mysteries of sexuality, to learn to trust, to have respect, to be intimate, and be able to share your physical body and experience pleasure with another person, to regenerate life, to procreate, to regenerate your union, regenerating your own bodies and creating this new life, to experience the loss of a loved one, to have the breakup of the husband and wife and the feelings that come along, the emotions that come along with whatever happens in this relationship, the loss of a parent, the loss of a partner, the loss of a child, how we are able to gather so much joy and pleasure from this experience of our sexuality and regenerating life, and how much grief and agony and suffering and resentment is also part of this process through experiencing such pleasure and joy. And then there, all things are in polarity. So this is where we get into some of Capricorn. In Cancer, as an archetype, this is that place of pleasure. When we get into the four directions, Cancer season has to do with the South, has to do with these colors I wore today to really bring it through. It's blues and greens and like the summertime, ocean waters, the primordial waters of fertility, and the that it's like a cosmic stew where all the codes of life start with water. And in opposition to Cancer, to the direction of south, is Capricorn, which is the direction of north. In Cancer, we have unconditional love. Unconditional love is this water that's all encompassing, accepting everything that comes into the water, and able to clarify and clean through tears, through urine, through sweat, through the lymphatic system, all of these ways of water that our bodies are so deeply, intimately involved with. That regeneration of ourselves. Cancer is really the ways that we are able to restore and regenerate. This is where we get that healing archetype with Cancer. And then in the opposite side of that, okay, from summer, everything's accepted. It's very unconditional love. Then we get over to the winter, we get over to Capricorn season, and it's love with conditions. Love with conditions. So in the north, in Capricorn, we have more of a sense of practicality. What is your use? How are you providing some stability and purpose, some integrity meaning that it is in body work. Integrity has to do with tissues being integrated and being able to support life. So integrity has to do with that ability to create a foundation and a structure, to be able to create form. So when we get to the direction of north, the cardinal sign of Capricorn is love with conditions. So with this Capricorn new moon, these are the questions that we're asking. Where am I able to restore life, to heal myself, my community, my family? In Cancer, it is not so much about the community outside the home and garden. It's more so about the community within the home and garden. What is your community in your home and your garden? Your altars where you're doing your ancestor work, the spirits that are constantly surrounding you, the creatures in your yard. If you're getting mad that there's caterpillars eating your plants or whatever, like this is something for you to think about. Okay, so my permaculture self wants to tell you that if there are caterpillars eating your plants, what you do is you plant plants that are for the caterpillars. Feed them. Cancer season is about feeding the spirits and your beloved family members who live in harmony with you, who are trying to teach you something, who are part of the integrity of your ecosystem. So you plant things that are for the raccoons and the skunks. You plant things that are for them. You have to involve everything that is around you as part of your ecosystem. Even those things that maybe bring you fear or distress or worry. Like, I know most of the time we want to say like some love and light things to cut them off and to cut the cords and to bad vibes. Oh, no, sorry. Good vibes only. And to, all these weird things that are not, it's not okay, if you've ever seen the movie Big Little Farm, in that movie, they show exactly what we have done with our colonialism mindset to make it be like this is for us. And whoever, whatever was here on this land in these places before me, good vibes only, and you're cut off. And that's not really reality. That's not how things work. So, in real reality, when there are things that you don't necessarily like, or you don't want them, or you think that they're bad spirits or bad vibes or whatever, that is you in a different form teaching you something. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about this anymore unless somebody asks a specific question because I feel like I'm getting off track. So, in Cancer season, with first of all, Justin, oh no fake happy vibes, chaotic vibes only. There's no only. That's the only thing. It's like, okay, well, chaos. I mean, there is no only in chaos. So it is all inclusive. And then what we're recognizing is parts of ourselves. So, yes, and being naked under the moonlight is complete medicine. I'm planning to do that tonight. My clothing today is very ready for the sun to go down and take in the moon. So, you take in the golden rays of the sun, and we forget to also take in the light of the moon. So tonight is definitely your night for that. Okay, so here we are, almost 20 minutes in. Now, the full moon is happening on 13 July, 11:37 a.m. So tonight, when it's dark, we will be pretty close to being able to capture the fullness of the moon. And then at 11:37 a.m., we won't really be capturing that fullness of the moon because the sun will be here. So tonight on July 12th, and then again on July 14th night, you'll be able to go out and be in that moonlight. So moon is at 21 degrees of Capricorn, sun is at 21 degrees of Capricorn. And as always, this full moon is the ovulation point of the moon cycle. So in our physical bodies, people who are regenerating themselves and having that moon cycle within their body, now this relates with ovulation. So when you take that idea of what happens at the ovulation point, okay, I'm in my ovulation phase, there's an extra glow, there's an extra radiance, and a desire to be celebrated. And for the celebration happening inside to be met with, you might say, attention, to be met with the feelings of bursting open and having this like climatic experience within the body wants to be met. Like that, in the sky, the ovulation point of the moon cycle wants to be met. Even in the craziest, biggest city where people are most disconnected from the sky, you will still see them pull over to take a picture of the moon because the full moon, it is stunning. It is radiant, glowing, beautiful. It's eerily beautiful. Eerie? I don't know if eerily is a word. Mesmerizingly beautiful. I want to say like scary beautiful. It's a kind of beautiful that makes you like tremble a little bit. So with that, we want to also look at our own charts. What do you have at 21 degrees Cancer and 21 degrees Capricorn? For me, my moon is at 21 degrees of Cancer. So this full moon is directly on my personal natal moon. And so wherever it is for you is going to tell you more specifically in which this point between Cancer and Capricorn is working with you specifically. So Cancer and Capricorn as a unified axis with their polarities, okay, the side of Capricorn has to do with structure, building form, giving integrity. Remember, integrity is the ability for all of the parts to work together to build a foundation. So within our own physical body, Capricorn relates with the bones, the teeth, the nails, the keratin and the calcium and the things that give us hardness. And then on the other end of that axis is Cancer. Cancer, so Capricorn is earth in the form of animals, of human bodies. It is that, so in earth, we have earth in the form of animals and human bodies, and we have earth in the form of, in Taurus, it's the fruits of the plants and the vegetables and the gemstones that we're able to derive value from and pleasure from. And then Virgo is earth in the form of leaves of the plants that are rapidly turning over, giving us medicine. We're able to discover about ourselves through all of these different earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So in Capricorn, it is about the longevity of the human species and of our animal nature. So the integrity, the way we're able to build our own structures. And then Cancer has to do with, Cancer is water in the form of oceans, of amniotic fluid, of the codes that are inscripted within the fluids of reproduction. Mm, that is so amazing that our water is so finely developed that we're able to reproduce ourselves. Like I was looking at my ancestry and researching for probably like 6 hours today and looking at pictures of people from my line, and it's amazing how much we look alike. So we were able to reproduce ourselves from the waters of our physical bodies, and that is a true miracle. So don't ever overlook that. Also, I don't know if you guys are into Mateus De Stefano. I don't know how he says his name different than how I say it, but something that he said in one of his classes, which I watch Mateus every single day, like it, because he teaches something every single day, about a 30-minute talk he does. One of the lessons that he gave told us about the word amor. In Spanish, amor, meaning without, more, M-O-R, meaning death, without death. Essentially, love means eternity. And that through our love, we would unite our genetics and we would live on forever. So in this way, our love would move on through all times, through eternity. And going back and looking at ancestry and finding this connection, that it's a beautiful tapestry that weaves all the way back through all these couplings, all these magical unions of two people, that going from the furthest back I could reach and going down, I was able to go trace through 4 in the side from Mexico, and going down and coming all the way to me. Looking at the names of those couples, it really shows you how their love has lived on through eternity, and that we are continually elongating the love of our ancestors. So now the moon at 21 Capricorn is near, but not so near to Pluto. So basically, at the time of the full moon, there is an influence of Pluto, which has a lot to do with, again, regeneration. It's different than the kind of regeneration that we find with the sign of Cancer. So Pluto is the planetary force, whereas the signs have to do with a sort of flavor of what's happening. It has to do with, this is the material, this is the topics that we're working between Cancer and Capricorn, having to do with your home and your family, who's the boss, who's in charge of setting structure in your home and family, and then who's doing the nurturing. I've been going really deep into this topic this year because it's just gushing out of me. Like, I'm a single mother. I live as a woman with children in the home, and I'm the mom. And with no father in the house, it's been expected that everybody, really, I mean, all the women who I know, oh, she's a strong woman. And then on Father's Day, people will like DM me, Happy Father's Day. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not the father. I don't do anything fatherly. Although I've been expected to also be the father figure in this house, which I am not. So all the fatherly things mostly just don't happen in this house. So this also reminds me about the breakdown of the family structure in our homes, and how, maybe as time goes on, we evolve in some sort of a way. Like, individually, we're able to hold integrity in our bodies and to hold the integrity of building our own foundation for our own self. And then, so I'm able to hold a fatherly figure for myself. And then I'm also able to do the healing restoration work that happens with Cancer. So the signs are basically like the topics of what we're working and the polarity of those topics that we're working. And then what you want to do is see what house is that in for you, because that specific area of your life is most up right now. So you can pop it in the chat if you know. This is I got caught up last week on, I am not good at going and like, oh, well, if you have Taurus rising, I can't even do it in my own mind for my own chart. Like, oh, I have Taurus rising, so that means Cancer would be in my third house. It's not, I don't have the mental math to be able to do that. But if you pop it in, what house that you have Cancer Capricorn axis in, I can give you some ideas about what this full moon could be opening up for you. Let's see. And motherly things don't happen in my house. Thank you, Justin. See, my son's dad has his mother. So the grandma lives with the dad. So my son calls her mom from time to time. They're Venezuelan, and I think this is probably normal for them, that like the mother lives with the son. So when Kailash is over at their house, he kind of has his dad and his grandma who's like doing the motherly thing. She's cooking and she's cleaning. And why, for God, why are these motherly things? I don't know. But what Justin is saying, motherly things don't happen at my house. So as a single parent, I love my daughter as a man, as her father. Okay, so it's just so weird that we have it, that we're supposed to be all things to our children. And this also can be said about our relationships with our lovers. Like, we're supposed to be all things for our lover. Like, if I'm with somebody who likes bowling and lifting weights and that I'm supposed to somehow like fit into all of those things in his life. And that's just, we're not doing that anymore. Okay, Cancer in the first. All right, so somebody with Cancer rising. I love this. I read Nako's chart. Nako actually has his rising sign at 21 degrees Cancer. So for him right now, the moon, the sun is directly on his rising and his descendant. So first and seventh house. I was like, oh my God, wow. That's so cool, because this will be saying that for anybody who has Cancer rising, that this full moon is opening up who you are and who you are in relationship with and how that evolves your soul. The first and seventh house is such a deep mystery because it's what was on the horizon. This is the east. On your personal chart, your personal medicine wheel, Cancer being on the east says that this is the mystery of how you rise into your experience. So that means for this full moon, sun is illuminating those questions of who am I? And today, who you are, or we can say that on this full moon happening at 11:37 a.m. tomorrow, is opening up a deeper layer of who you are. So every year when we have Capricorn Cancer full moon, you can say that every year it's an evolution of your soul answering the question, who am I? And who is this mysterious other? The partner in the seventh house. So for you, Irene, that means that Capricorn would be on your descendant. So often attracting partners who have a sense of stability, that you probably are attracted to people who complement the learnings that you're experiencing with Cancer rising. The learnings that you're experiencing have to do with, where is my home? Where is my garden? And who in the seventh house is tending that home and garden with me, and probably finding people who have more of a stability, more of a sense of stability. And the thing about the seventh house is that in our longing for that partner, we, of course, notice these beautiful qualities. Oh, well, they're so stable. They're so got their shit together. They are, maybe they're financially put together well. They have a sense of, like the North, they have a sense of love with conditions. Love with conditions. So they do expect something out of you. And they do see you, and they see your potentials, and they are kind of pushing you toward developing more of who you are. Because Capricorn wants to know, does this grow corn? What is useful about whatever it is, a person, a place, a point for meeting each other? Like somebody, okay, so for somebody with a Cancer rising, the people that they date will most probably end up being somebody who won't just meet you for coffee for no reason. So you kind of have to be like, oh, let's meet for coffee so that we can discuss the current situation with cryptocurrency, or so that we can talk about our investments, or our, there always has to be a purpose for it. I like Saturn men. I like that too, Irene. I really like that too, for different reasons, but yes, to that. Okay, so Justin. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So Justin has Cancer in the 6th. So what, okay, and this is a 6th and 12th house have a lot to do with 6th house, my daily routines. Those tiny tasks of taking myself so that I can go into the 12th house and be in the mystery. The 6th house, with Cancer in the 6th house, especially, it draws my attention right to the intestines. And in the intestines, it's not just about what all are you bringing in and then being able to mull it over and find a place for everything and have things make sense. It's not just that physically, it's that also mentally and emotionally, and with your regeneration, your regenerative fluids, your sexuality. Because Cancer, like we forget all the time, Cancer is not just the parent. It is, how did you become a parent? How did you become a parent? Not that, but how did you become a parent? Through exploring the physical senses. The teaching that I want to impart about Cancer has to do with what we do in our current culture is skip pretty much everything and go straight to, like, do we kiss good? Like, is there, what do you call this? Chemistry. Is there chemistry? And then we just, if there is chemistry, we kind of just overlook everything else. And maybe that's not, maybe that's just certain people who do that. I don't know. But the main teaching for Cancer is that we first develop respect, a mutual respect. And then in developing that respect, we grow in our trust, mutual trust of that other person. And when we have grown in mutual trust, naturally, the intimacy starts to open up. We can't skip steps. And this is what leads, not skipping steps, going through these steps is what leads to a more enduring experience. So with Cancer in the 6th house, all of these things that I've just spoken are really important first to find within yourself. Oh, God. 6th house, Cancer. If I respect myself, what do I do as a routine for my discipline of self love? If I respect myself, then I can trust myself. If I trust myself, what do I do as my daily routine for my discipline of self love? Once you've got that, the next question is going to be about intimacy. Okay, so how do I how do I explore intimacy with myself? This is so sixth house has to do with these methodical steps. You can't go through this, you can't go into the seventh house, which has to do with relationship, without passing through the sixth house. And that's for everybody. And for somebody with Cancer in the sixth house, it condenses down to the fact of having self-love become a discipline. And when that happens, the 12th house, your ability to manifest your dreams, your ability to go into your sleeping phase, ooh, to be able, ooh, okay, so that's Capricorn in the 12th. And the images are like, man, when you harmonize that Cancerian material in the sixth, now the 12th house gives you the ability to materialize. With Capricorn in the 12th, you're able to materialize. So getting that into harmony is what's up for you right now with this full moon. Okay, yes, we are not all things for our lovers. Cancer 6. Okay. Juno conjunct. I like Saturn men. Okay, Megan. Okay, see, Megan, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the video, but Justin came on and I was like, hey, Justin. And then I was like, oh, Megan. And so I love you so much, and you soften me, like you soften my heart, and I just get butterflies when I think of you or see your name. Okay, so Capricorn in the fifth house with the moon and the north node. Uranus 16 degrees and wow. I mean, I know your chart. I do remember this, but it's just so much when I'm looking at it, like that's all in your fifth house. And then so that means that in your 11th house, so you have Cancer in the 11th. So right now, and I've been seeing your Instagram things of all of these Cancerian, very like 11th house, like that picture of you with your peach and you're going like this and you had the sunglasses and it was like a thing for your yoga class. That was so Cancer in the 11th house. And with the sun there right now, I can really see that being illuminated. And there is a what do you call this, like sexuality that is the fluidity and the juiciness of our fertility. It's like the ovulation being like, this is like an ovulation month for anybody with Cancer in the 11th house, because it's out there and it's showing like this very bubbly, fruity, flavorful expression. Curves sell. Oh yeah. So let's see. You are so right about this. Okay, so Capricorn in the fifth house. So now Moon, oh, it's more like this now. Moon in the fifth house. Wow. And that it still goes right back to fifth house being where it's our inner child coming out to creatively express itself. And in the fifth house, Capricorn wants to do it very strategically. I can see the Capricorn in the fifth house having a little bit of like, kind of like making fun be a discipline, because Capricorn has to do with And discipline is not a bad word. Discipline has to do with our discipleship, like how we're able to be a disciple to a thing, meaning that we come back every day. Like when I lived in a yoga ashram, to be a disciple is to build discipline, which means that we're going to keep at it. We're going to keep at it. So with Capricorn in the fifth house and the moon being right there in your fifth house, there is something about the discipleship of your creative expression that is like being like what's this, the chopping wood, like keep at it. And so something is really being worked in that area, and your north node is there. So that north node being like, yes, Megan, this is where we're going. This is the future. The destiny is to keep on and like getting bigger and showing up more. And that discipleship of keeping at it at your creative expression. So the creative expression, it's not like you open the door to the fifth house and then you're like, oh, here it is. It's like you have to do this. And this means keeping at it. And that as you do this process, and maybe it is just every once a year at the Capricorn full moon, and at, every time that there's something major happening through Capricorn in your fifth house. Well, Pluto's in your fifth house right now, which is really radically, especially at these last degrees of Capricorn. These last degrees of any sign are the most powerful, especially that 29-degree point. So Capricorn in your fifth house is really transforming the way that you are showing up as a disciple of your own creativity. Write that down, because oh my God, I love that. Okay, discipline equals freedom. Oh yeah. That's that guy. That's that guy here in OB that has that discipline equals freedom. And that is actually the message for Megan. Discipline equals freedom, because the 11th house, when I harmonize my fifth house, making a discipline out of my creativity, then I am free. And the 11th house is who you are in the community and the like-minded people who have similar goals and aspirations, your yoga community and all those beautiful people that you show on your page. It's like a big friend group of people who have the similar goals and aspirations. When you harmonize your discipline of creativity, then you have freedom to really fully be who you are and invite everybody in that goal group to also open up and flourish. Okay. You know what? It's been 48 minutes. Anybody else can pop in some things. And I want to give a little message about Venus also. So there are so many things on this chart, but the next thing that I find really important is talking about Venus. So Venus is currently in Gemini at 24 degrees, going to be by tomorrow, will be at 25 degrees, which makes a perfect challenge to Neptune. So Gemini is air in the form of thoughts. Gemini is air in the form of thoughts. So that has to do with just like a rapid turnover. If you can track your thoughts, you will know that you can't track them because there are so many. Venus being here in Gemini gives us this like very curious, innovative, playful, creative, like I could be anything, I can do anything. And it's more about internal, okay? Because Venus isn't going out there doing something. Venus is the gemstone encoded within you that says, this is what I want. These are my values. This is what I'm worth. And it is radiating that message out into the world so that you're able to attract those things in. Your inner Mars goes out and gets it. Saturn gives you discipline to do the chopping of the wood. So there's all these different archetypes and different ways we go about doing things, but Venus doesn't do shit. Venus attracts. Venus is your allure. It's the way you draw something in by using your senses. So Venus in Gemini making a 90-degree aspect to Neptune in Pisces. So these are both mutable signs. And the mutability of them makes it so that nothing is stable, everything is changing. And one thing that comes up a lot with this 90-degree angle between Venus and Neptune has to do with the inconsistency of what we are attracting, the inconsistency of what we value. So if I say that I value X, Y, and Z, but then I'm entertaining things that don't have anything to do with X, Y, and Z, there's an inconsistency. This leads to delusionment and to self-doubt and questioning. And guess what? It is part of it. It's not bad. It's part of the process of learning. Oh, I said I wanted X, Y, and Z. And then there was this beautiful thing that I didn't have X, Y, and Z, but I went off and did it. And guess what? I really don't care about X, Y, and Z anymore. So now I've changed. This is what the gifts of mutability. Okay. So real life example, I'm like, okay, I want somebody in my life who practices their spirituality on a daily basis, woven into real life, meaning that they're not like, oh, I go to church on Sunday. It's like I wake up, I feed my ancestors, I talk to my ancestors all day, I do this ceremony every day or whatever. Like the spirituality is woven into the life. They have their own resources, they can cook food, and they're affectionate. And so I have these things, right? And then, oh, but there's this person, he's none of those. Oh, but whatever, I want the pleasure, I'm whatever. So I go off and do it. And then I'm like, okay, no, actually, X, Y, and Z are really important to me. Sorry, buddy, be gone. Off with his head. No, not really off with the head part, but okay. Or the other thing can happen where I'm like, oh, I really want X, Y, and Z. And then I meet so and so. This didn't happen, by the way. This hasn't happened. And then I go off with so and so, and then I'm like, oh, I don't care if they do these things that I said I valued. This is the gift of the aspect that is a challenge between Venus and Neptune. We get an opportunity to check ourselves. That Venus gemstone coated in the heart or in the whatever it is in your body, it could be coated into your belly or your knee, is getting tested right now. So we're able to question what it is what is the code that we are vibrating out that says, this is what I value, this is what I'm worth. And because these are immutable signs, Venus is in Gemini, Neptune is in Pisces, this is an opportunity to change the code. You can change the code. So I like to change my codes through writing them. And I don't eat animals, but I definitely do write my petitions on sheepskin. So I will write the petition on a sheepskin because sheepskin and animals has to do with that Capricorn. It's animal. Capricorn is earth in the form of animal, and it is a strong message. So you can write the code, write the new code, bury it, because burying it is for long-term revisions. You can bury that in the earth. If you want a fast, short-term revision, something to go faster, you would burn the code. You could also put it off into water, just let it sail away into the water. So these are all just different ways, but because And because this is in mutable signs, I would say probably doing the carry it away in the water might be funner. It might be more in relation to where Venus is. Okay, Justin, yes, Venus is the invitation to pounce. You are so good with how you circle things back around. Okay, so I mentioned this Venus being the invitation to pounce probably last year. That just touches my heart so much that you remember that. Oh, look at when this little vein in my forehead starts popping out, that's when you know you got me good. That is so sweet. Yes, Venus is in fact the invitation to pounce. All right. So, one more thing about Venus is we have a harmonious aspect happening today, actually, between Venus and Saturn. So, this harmonious aspect, again, because it's in air signs, is giving us the opportunity to innovate upon what it is that we have written in our Venus gemstone, what it is that we have declared that we are worth, what we say we value, what we say that we want. So it's an opportunity to rewrite those things. All right. Well, thank everybody. Thank you all so much. I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you all so much. And if you're not in the Telegram group yet, please join. I will share a link with this video. So if you, oh my God, and you guys, please subscribe to my channel. Every time I go through and look at the analytics, like 80% of people who watch my channel are not subscribed. Like, please subscribe. Please. All right. I love you all so much. And I look forward to connecting with you all again very soon.